Hello, everyone. Winter has come to Denmark. Let me just. Wow, that's bright. Possibly you can see a bit. That way. There. And while I'm stuck inside, I have just enough time to look over a few lists. And this one is Isaac, who's going to Operation Grizzly. And he sent me a message in the comments to one of my videos saying, could you give me a few pointers? So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. And I've basically all my ideas about this, Isaac, is based on me and Alistair's talk about the top axis selectors for bolt action. The link is in the description. Um, so go and watch that if you haven't already. I think you have. But Isaac wants me to look over his list for Operation Grizzly and see if I have any tactical pointers and anything he could do to improve the list, maybe. Now, the first thing I need to say is um, he's bringing this one, the Panzer Recon reinforced platoon. So it's a theatre platoon. And it's actually me and Alistair's number 10 in our top 10 Axis selectors. I will say one thing first. For this is definitely not the list. This is not a list that's an auto-win list. It's not a selector that's an auto-win selector. This is a very tactical, very fiddly selector that you need to train with. And you need to have the right tactics, and you need to have the right timing for those tactics. You need to have the right deployment for those tactics. So if you lose all your games, Isaac, don't just think it's the list. That's not it. It could just as well be that your tactics are off, because this is expert level bolt action you're playing with, basically. Right. So the Panzer Recon platoon has the option of buying recce on its half tracks and its heavy field cars. It has which Isaac does for two of his half tracks, and it has the added rule that all your infantry has to be mounted up, and then that your lieutenant can actually do snap twos inside and out of transport, which is brilliant. Breaking the rules, but brilliant. So the actual platoon itself ends up a little bit over. I can't remember exactly. There's a reason for this. Regular lieutenant, 50 points. Second lieutenant. This is one of the few places that I actually might want to go higher and buy a first lieutenant. Although I think you can get away with running a second lieutenant here. Then Panzer Grenadiers with assault rifles. 1, 2, 2 with assault rifles, and then a bunch with Panzerfausts and rifles. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. They all need transport. Panzer Lux, double of those. Really like the Panzer Lux. It's a nice little armored car. And then 2 half tracks and a few trucks. 13 order dice. Very nice platoon. Now, for me, there's a little few tricks here that doesn't really add up. Now, the trucks, for instance, the trucks have a capacity of 12 men, and you could put these riflemen in those trucks, which I guess is what he wants to do with the assault rifles in the half tracks. That doesn't make sense to me. The trucks have a way bigger range for the thrusts, because this is going to be an armored thrust, right? Where you drive up your truck, your half track, you unload with the machine gun on that, and then you unload 2 groups of grenadiers. Those groups need to be effective, and you need as much range and as much firepower delivered as humanly possible. At the same time, they need to be effective against a wide variety of targets. And now, in a Panzer Recon platoon, you can't have flamethrowers, so that's out. Which means that for me, you have to have in each group of Panzer Grenadiers, you have to have someone with a Panzerfaust, because you need something to deal with tanks and something to deal with infantry. So Panzerfaust is mandatory for me, as is boosting your offensive capability at short range as much as humanly possible. And I'm saying short range because such a thrust, just an armored thrust, you have 12-inch of movement on a truck, then you have 6 inches of movement on the infantry, and then you have whatever range you can shoot at. So typically you'll be at 18, you'll be at 24, like 24 to 36. That is the threat range that you're dealing with most of the time. You need that to be as high as possible, delivering as many shots as possible. So for me, I think cutting down on the assault rifles, taking SMGs instead, and then having way more Fausts in these units so that you can actually split fire. So having one unit with 3 Fausts, I don't think it's a good idea. Rather have a lot of units with 2 Fausts, for instance. The looks, I like those, but you can cut down. Taking the 250/9 is cheaper, does basically the same for you. It's still close topped. It's only 7 plus, but and then cutting out the half tracks. Yes, the half track with Recce is a neat gimmick. I'll give you that. It is a neat gimmick, but it's still just a half track. It will get pinned from small arms fire, and it's still just 7 plus. And because it's a half track, you don't have the range of a truck. So for me, Isaac, if I were to change this in any way to optimize what it is that this list can do, that armored thrust thing, this is what I'd build instead. 14 organized, 999 points. I am bringing, for the first time ever, a first lieutenant. I'm doing that in order to maximize, because the lieutenant can snap to a truck and then both of the units inside it. That's, and himself, by the way, he can do that. That's 4 units that you can push out at the same time. So I want the lieutenant to be able to snap to at least 3 units, at least. So I'm thinking about running this as a first lieutenant. He is expensive, yes, I know, but it's that snap to bomb that you're throwing out there. And then my Panzer Grenadiers have all got submachine guns. There are a few men with rifle. One of these is a casualty, and I've optimized their size for what they're going to sit in, which is what you should do as well, which I guess you have. But here, notice I've made sure that there's a lot of submachine guns in each unit, and there's Panzerfausts in each unit. Most of the units I will, or some of the units, I have the points throw in the second Panzerfaust. Now, what I'll do here is I will take, let me show you, I'll take 2 trucks. These 2 trucks, I'll load them up, 1 unit with 1 Panzerfaust and 1 unit with 2 Panzerfausts, so that I have 3 Panzerfausts in each truck. That should be enough to deal with any threatening target. Any tanks or armored cars, they'll be overloaded by Panzerfausts, basically. And if they have Recce, I'll start out moving the unit with a single Panzerfaust out, shoot that. If it Recces, then the second unit can get out, try to take the shot, or if it Recces all the way away, I still have those for next turn. The submachine guns, because there are 4 of them, have a lot of capability of reaching out, of touching and messing up units, infantry units, because that'll be 8 shots, right? And possibly I'm in very close range at that point, so it'll be 8 shots, hitting on 3s because I ignore movement, possibly even 2s for being in point blank range. That's going to hurt. And it's double up because I have 2 of these in each unit, so it's 16 shots on 2s. Yeah. So that'll hurt. I also include a medium mortar, inexperienced, like Isaac's here, Isaac's platoon. Where did he go? He does not include one. For me, I think just having that extra there, that extra capability, that extra thing you can do, although it may actually mean that I am over the number of units that I can't be bothered with this. Because I have 3 men and then 2 men, that's 5 men. They could go in my heavy field car. It should maybe be okay, because I think one of the Panzer Grenadiers has fewer men, so that my lieutenant can go with them. I think that was the intention anyway. So 1 Grenadier unit is a 5-man unit, and the rest are 6-man units. That was what I intended. Then I bring the half tracks to save the points. So they have points for more Panzerfausts. They still have the light autocannon, the coaxial MG, but they're just 7+, but have recce. And I push in a Stummel as well. This is maybe not needed, but it's nice to have that extra light howitzer. And I gave it a front-facing MMG and a pintle-mounted MMG as well, so that it can split fire 2 ways if I want to. And then the trucks, all of them are regular with MMGs here, just because that means that once I deliver my armored thrust, the truck moves up, it shoots, the lieutenant gets out, he shoots, then the first grenadier unit get out, they shoot, and then the final grenadier unit get out, they shoot. So it's 4 pins that I'm unloading onto whatever target I'm aiming for, at least. Possibly I can down several targets in that one go. So, yeah, that is how I would build the Panzer Recon reinforced platoon. Is it the best possible? No, but it is pretty good, and it's very, very tactical. That armored thrust there is very finicky. It takes a lot of experience to pull off in a way where you're absolutely certain that it will happen the way you want it to happen. So, yeah. Isaac, good luck, and let me know how it went. I will see all of you in the next video. Cheers.